The email arrived at 4:47 p.m. on a Friday in March. Subject line: Columbia University admissions decision. My hand shook opening it. For years of AP classes, honor roll every semester, volunteering at the hospital, debate team captain, part-time job at the library. Everything had been building toward this moment. Congratulations! We are pleased to offer you admission to Columbia University's class of 2028. I screamed. Actually screamed. Ran downstairs waving my phone like a flag. Dad was in the kitchen. Looked up from his coffee. Read the email over my shoulder. His eyes filled with tears. Columbia. My daughter got into Columbia. Mom came running from the living room. Read it. Hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. You did it, sweetheart. You earned every bit of this. We celebrated that night. Fancy restaurant. Toasts. Photos. Dad kept telling the waiter, my daughter got into Columbia. Mom posted on Facebook within minutes. For the first time in 18 years, I felt like the center of my family's attention. Like I mattered. Like all the sacrificing and studying had been worth it. I should have known better. Grandpa died when I was 14. Heart attack. Sudden. Devastating. His will left me $200,000 in an educational trust. For my granddaughter's future, the document read. To be used exclusively for higher education expenses. My father was named trustee. Made sense, he was Grandpa's son, a CPA, financially responsible. The money went into an account I could access once I turned 18, though Dad would maintain oversight until I graduated college. Just to make sure everything stays secure, he'd explained. You focus on school. I'll handle the finances. I trusted him. Why wouldn't I? The money sat untouched through high school. I never even checked the balance. Just knew it was there, a safety net, a foundation, proof that my future was secure. Every decision I made was built on that certainty. Taking unpaid internships because I didn't need immediate income. Choosing Columbia over state schools that offered scholarships. Planning for graduate school. Dreaming big because I could afford to. The trust made risk possible. Made ambition reasonable. I'd worked hard, yes. But I'd worked hard knowing I wouldn't drown in debt. That security shaped everything. Until it didn't. My sister Melissa was 26, beautiful, charming, and entirely accustomed to getting whatever she wanted. The golden child. The favorite. The one whose achievements were celebrated while mine were expected. She'd been dating Trevor for 3 years. Nice guy. Good job. Boring, honestly, but stable. When they got engaged, the family reaction was predictable. Mom cried happy tears, Dad opened champagne, extended family flooded social media with congratulations. I was genuinely happy for her. Sent a thoughtful gift. Offered to help with wedding planning. Then came Sunday brunch 2 months after my Columbia acceptance. Melissa was showing Mom venue photos on her iPad. This one's perfect. Waterfront ceremony, reception hall with those gorgeous chandeliers, capacity for 300 guests. Mom was gushing. It's stunning. Absolutely stunning. It's $80,000, Melissa said casually, like she was ordering coffee. But it's once in a lifetime, right? I laughed. Thought she was joking. She wasn't joking. Mom smiled. That's reasonable for what you're getting. Dad shrugged. If it's what you want, we'll make it work. I stopped mid-bite. 80,000? How are you paying for that? Melissa waved dismissively. Trevor's parents are contributing 30. Mom and Dad are covering the rest. 50,000. My parents were spending $50,000 on a single day. Do you have that much saved? I asked Dad carefully. We'll figure it out, he said without looking at me. Something cold settled in my stomach. A week later, I logged into the trust account for the first time in months. Just routine checking before starting to plan my Columbia budget, tuition, housing, books, living expenses. The screen loaded slowly. Then the balance appeared. $326.72. I blinked. Refreshed the page. $326.72. Refreshed again. $326.72. $200,000. Gone. Vanished. Impossible. I called the bank immediately, hands shaking so badly I could barely dial. This is Maya Chen. I need to check on account ending in 4783. The educational trust account. There's been a mistake. One moment, please. Hold music. Then, I'm showing that account had several large withdrawals over the past 2 months. Authorization came from the trustee. The trustee? A Mr. Robert Chen. Your father, according to our records. He has full authority to manage the account until your college graduation. My throat closed. How much was withdrawn? I'm showing total withdrawals of $199,673.28 over 6 transactions between February 3rd and March 28th. The room spun. That's my college fund. He can't just. According to the trust documents, the trustee has discretion over account management for family educational purposes and related expenses. Was this unauthorized? Yes. Completely unauthorized. I'm very sorry, but the trustee's authority is clearly established in the legal documents. If you believe there's been misuse, you'd need to pursue that through legal channels. I hung up and immediately pulled up my bank records. Looked at the dates of the withdrawals. February 3rd. The day after Melissa picked her venue. I drove to my parents' house immediately. Didn't call ahead. Just showed up with printed transaction statements in my hand. Walked in without knocking. Melissa was in the living room trying on wedding dresses. 2 bridesmaids fawning over her. Mom taking photos. Everyone laughing, celebrating, glowing. We need to talk, I said. My voice sounded foreign. Too calm. Too cold. Dad emerged from the kitchen. Maya, honey. What's wrong? I laid the statements on the coffee table. Where's my college fund? Silence. The bridesmaids suddenly very interested in their phones. Melissa's smile frozen. Mom spoke first. Let's discuss this privately. No. We're discussing it now. Right here. $200,000 is missing from my trust account. Where is it? Dad sat down heavily. Maya, please understand. This was a family decision. A family decision? It's my money. Grandpa left it to me. Technically, it's family money held in trust. For my education. That's what the trust says. Higher education expenses. Not wedding expenses. Not Melissa's party. My education. Melissa stood up, still in the wedding dress. Maya, calm down. You're being dramatic. I got into Columbia. Do you know what that costs? Do you know what I've been planning based on having that money? You'll figure something out, Dad said, like he was discussing a minor inconvenience. You're resourceful. You can get loans, scholarships. I turned down scholarships at other schools because I thought I had this fund. I made decisions based on that security. And your sister is getting married, Mom interjected. This is a special moment. A once-in-a-lifetime event. You'll have other opportunities. A wedding is one day. My education is my future. Melissa laughed. Actually laughed. Oh, come on. You'll make it back. You always figure things out. You're like, obsessively organized. This isn't a big deal. And that's when I understood. They'd never seen the money as mine. They saw it as a family asset. Available for whoever needed it. And Melissa, as always, needed it more than I did. I left without another word. Drove to a coffee shop. Sat in my car and called Aunt Maria, Grandpa's sister, the only family member who'd always been honest with me. Maya? What's wrong? I told her everything. The withdrawals. The wedding. The casual dismissal of my future. Long silence. Then, those idiots. I told them not to touch that money. You knew? Your father called me 2 months ago. Said Melissa needed help with wedding costs. Asked if I thought it was appropriate to borrow from your fund temporarily. I told him absolutely not. That money was designated for you specifically. That your grandfather would be horrified. What did he say? That I didn't understand modern family dynamics. That they'd pay you back after the wedding once they reorganized finances. She sighed. I'm so sorry, Maya. I should have warned you. Can I do anything? Legally? The trust gave him discretion as trustee. But discretion doesn't mean carte blanche to violate the trust's stated purpose. You might have grounds for a lawsuit. Talk to a lawyer. After we hung up, I sat in that coffee shop parking lot for 2 hours. Crying. Raging. Planning. They thought I'd be too polite to fight back. Too grateful. Too well-behaved. They were wrong. Columbia had a pre-law advising office. I made an appointment for Monday morning. The advisor, Professor Santos, listened to my story without interrupting. Then she wrote down a name. Janet Liu. She specializes in trust and estate litigation. She's tough, ethical, and she does some pro bono work for students. Tell her I sent you. Janet Liu's office was in a modest building downtown. Simple furniture. Law books lining the walls. No pretense. She reviewed my documents for 20 minutes in silence. Then looked up. Your father violated his fiduciary duty as trustee. The trust explicitly states educational purposes. A wedding doesn't qualify. You have a strong case. Can I get the money back? We can sue for the full amount plus damages for breach of fiduciary duty. There may also be statutory penalties for trust misappropriation. Realistically, you're looking at recovering the $200,000 plus legal fees and possibly punitive damages. How long will it take? Depends on whether they contest. If they fight, maybe a year. If they settle quickly, a few months. I want to file. She studied me carefully. This will destroy your relationship with your family. You understand that? They destroyed it when they stole my future. I'm just making it official. We filed the lawsuit 3 weeks later. The complaint was detailed, clinical, devastating. Plaintiff Maya Chen versus defendants Robert Chen and Linda Chen, in their capacity as trustees of the Maya Chen Educational Trust. Breach of fiduciary duty. Misappropriation of trust funds. Conversion. Fraud. The court filing was sent to my parents via certified mail. They signed for it on a Tuesday afternoon, 2 weeks before Melissa's wedding. My phone exploded within an hour. Melissa, what the fuck is wrong with you? Mom, how could you do this to your family? Dad, this is extortion. We're your parents. You don't sue your parents. I blocked them all. Let my lawyer handle communication. That evening, Melissa went live on Instagram. Crying. Makeup running. The whole performance. I never thought I'd have to deal with this during what's supposed to be the happiest time of my life. When you trust family to support you and her voice broke. They tried to destroy everything. She didn't name me. Didn't have to. Her followers knew. Comments flooded in. Stay strong. Family drama is the worst. Don't let negativity ruin your day. I screenshot everything. Sent it to my lawyer. Possible defamation, she noted. The lawsuit had immediate consequences nobody expected. Wedding vendors started asking questions. The venue wanted payment confirmation. The caterer requested documentation that funds were legitimate and not under legal dispute. Melissa's wedding planner called me directly. Ms. Chen, I need to understand the situation. The deposit your parents paid, is that money being contested in your lawsuit? Yes. Every penny they paid for the wedding came from my college fund. It's all under dispute. I see. Thank you for being honest. She paused. I'm going to recommend my client postpone until this is resolved. Within a week, vendors started pulling out. The dress shop put Melissa's gown on hold. The caterer withdrew. The florist requested new payment from a different source. The wedding was imploding. Melissa called me from a blocked number. I almost didn't answer. You're destroying my wedding, she screamed. You're ruining the most important day of my life because you're jealous and bitter. I'm reclaiming what was stolen from me. If your wedding can't survive without theft, maybe it shouldn't happen. This is vindictive. This is justice. You spent $200,000 that wasn't yours. Now you're facing consequences. That's not vindictive. That's basic accountability. I hung up. Blocked that number too. The story leaked, predictably. Small town. Big lawsuit. Juicy family drama. Someone posted court documents on Reddit. Parents stole daughter's college fund to pay for other daughter's wedding. Now being sued for $200,000. The thread exploded. Thousands of comments. Most supporting me. This is financial abuse. The golden child syndrome is real. Sue them into oblivion. They deserve it. Local news picked it up. Family torn apart over wedding expenses and college fund dispute. Then college admissions forums. Columbia admits sues family over stolen college fund. My inbox flooded. Support. Questions. Media requests. I ignored all of it. Let the story tell itself. But I screenshot everything. Documentation of public perception. Evidence that their version, poor parents, ungrateful daughter, wasn't landing. The narrative was shifting. And they were on the wrong side. My cousin Derek texted out of nowhere. We hadn't spoken in years. Just want to say you're doing the right thing. Melissa's always been the favorite. You were always supposed to just deal with it and be grateful for scraps. Proud of you for fighting back. I stared at that message for a long time. All those years thinking maybe I was too sensitive. Maybe I'd imagined the favoritism. Maybe I was being unfair. But I hadn't imagined anything. Everyone saw it. They just expected me to accept it. I wrote back, not anymore. His response was immediate, good. Make them pay. The hearing was set for 6 weeks after filing. My parents hired a lawyer, expensive, from what I could tell. Tried to argue the trust terms were ambiguous, that family educational purposes could include wedding expenses since weddings educate family members about commitment. Judge Martinez was unimpressed. The trust explicitly states higher education expenses. A wedding is not higher education. This is straightforward misappropriation. My parents' lawyer tried another angle. Your Honor, the defendants fully intend to repay. Repayment doesn't negate the breach. The trustee had no authority to borrow from designated funds regardless of repayment intent. The ruling came down 2 weeks later. In my favor. Full restitution of $200,000 plus $15,000 in legal fees plus $25,000 in statutory damages for breach of fiduciary duty. Total judgment, $240,000. Melissa gasped in the courtroom. Mom started crying. Dad sat frozen. I walked out before they could approach me. They didn't pay. 30 days came and went. The judgment sat unsatisfied. My lawyer filed a lien against their house. The same house Dad had bragged about owning free and clear. The house they'd remortgaged once, then paid off through smart financial planning. Turned out Dad had used my trust as collateral for financial decisions I knew nothing about. Now I legally owned a piece of their home. The lien notice arrived via sheriff. Mom called me crying. You're taking our house? Your own parents' house? I'm enforcing a legal judgment. You had 30 days to pay. You chose not to. We don't have that kind of money. You had it. You spent it on Melissa's wedding. These are consequences. Please. We can work out a payment plan. That's between you and my lawyer. I hung up. Felt nothing. No satisfaction. No guilt. Just hollow exhaustion. Melissa's engagement ended 2 months later. Trevor's parents had been pressuring him to postpone given the family drama. Then someone showed Trevor's mother the full lawsuit details, including how much they'd spent on a wedding that never happened. She put her foot down. We're not getting involved in this mess. Trevor tried to salvage it. Suggested eloping. Melissa refused. I'm not having some cheap courthouse wedding after everything I've been through. He gave her an ultimatum. She doubled down. He left. She posted a vague Instagram story. Sometimes people show you who they really are. Trust the process. Comments were less sympathetic now. Someone wrote, maybe focus on paying back your sister before planning another wedding. She deleted the post within an hour. 6 months after the judgment, my parents sold their house. Downsized to a rental. Used proceeds to pay what they owed me. The check arrived via my lawyer. $240,000. Certified funds. I deposited it immediately. Then I did something they'd probably never expected. I invested it properly. Put most in a high-yield account. Used some to pay my Columbia tuition outright for all 4 years, no loans, no debt. Enrolled in classes that fall. Walked campus knowing every penny was legitimately mine. That no one could take it. That my future was secure not because someone allowed it, but because I'd fought for it. Every lecture felt like reclaiming something stolen. Melissa stopped posting about her life. No wedding updates. No relationship content. Just occasional generic quotes about healing and toxic people. Her follower count dropped. Sponsorships dried up. The carefully curated influencer life she'd been building crumbled under the weight of reality. Mom got a job at a retail store. First time she'd worked in 20 years. Dad picked up contract accounting work. Their comfortable retirement plans dissolved. I felt no satisfaction watching them struggle. But I felt no guilt either. They'd made choices. Now they lived with them. Mom showed up at my apartment during Thanksgiving break. I'd moved to New York for school. She'd driven 6 hours without telling me she was coming. Knocked on my door holding a tin of homemade cookies. My favorites. The ones she used to make when I was little. She looked smaller than I remembered. Older. Tired. Maya, honey. Can we talk? No. Please. Just 5 minutes. I need to explain. There's nothing to explain. You stole from me. You chose Melissa over me. You made your priorities very clear. I thought I was doing what was best for the family. The family? Or your favorite daughter? She flinched. That's not fair. What's not fair is stealing my education to fund her party. What's not fair is lying to my face. What's not fair is expecting me to just accept it because family. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We made a terrible mistake. You made a choice. Choices have consequences. This is yours. I closed the door. Heard her crying on the other side. Walked back to my bedroom and kept studying. The cookie sat outside my door for 3 days before building maintenance threw them away. My sophomore year, I established a scholarship. The Robert Chen Memorial Educational Trust, named for my grandfather, funded with part of my judgment money. $5,000 annually for first-generation college students whose families tried to undermine their education. Required essay, describe a time you had to fight for your own future. The applications broke my heart. So many versions of my story. Parents pressuring kids to skip college for family businesses. Siblings guilting students into giving up opportunities. Relatives stealing savings. The first recipient was a girl from Ohio whose mother had emptied her college savings to bail out her brother. She wrote, "I thought I'd never escape. This scholarship saved my life." Reading that, I finally felt something other than anger. Purpose. My parents never stopped trying. Cards on holidays. Emails asking how school was going. Awkward attempts at reconciliation through relatives. I responded to none of it. Derek told me Melissa moved across the country. California. Started over. Changed her social media handles. Apparently working retail, living with roommates, trying to rebuild. She asks about you sometimes, he said. Wants to know if you're doing okay. I don't care. She's in therapy. Dealing with a lot of stuff. I think she knows she was wrong. Good for her. I'm still not interested. Forgiveness wasn't required. Wasn't expected. Wasn't even on the table. Some things you don't fix. You just move forward without them. I graduated Columbia with honors. Double major in economics and political science. Job offers from 3 consulting firms. Chose the one with the best benefits and highest salary. The graduation ceremony was strange. Looked out at the audience. Saw my roommate's parents, my boyfriend's family, classmates' relatives. My seat had no one. I'd specifically not told my parents the date. After the ceremony, Professor Santos found me. Maya. Congratulations. You've come so far. Thank you for everything. The lawyer recommendation, the support. You did the hard work. Both academically and personally. She paused. Your family didn't come? I didn't invite them. Do you regret that? I thought about it honestly. No. They would have made it about them. This day is mine. She smiled. Good. Keep that boundary. With my signing bonus and savings, I bought a small condo. Nothing fancy. But mine. Mortgage-free after a few years of aggressive payments. I framed 2 documents side by side in my home office. On the left, the court judgment awarding me $240,000. On the right, my mortgage satisfaction letter. Every morning I walked past them on the way to my coffee maker. Reminder, I'd fought for my future and won. They'd spent my college fund on a party that never happened. I'd used their betrayal to build something permanent. 5 years after the lawsuit, Aunt Maria called. Your father had a heart attack. He's stable, but it was serious. Your mother wanted me to tell you. Okay. Maya, I know things are complicated, but I hope he recovers. I'm not visiting. He's your father. He was my father. Then he chose to be my thief. Those are his consequences. That's very cold. That's very honest. She sighed. At some point, you might regret this distance. Maybe. But I'll regret losing my future more. The scholarship fund grew. I contributed annually. Other donors joined. After 5 years, we'd awarded $125,000 to 25 students. Each recipient sent thank you notes. Each one a story of family betrayal and personal resilience. One wrote, my parents told me I was selfish for choosing college over helping with family bills. Your scholarship proved someone believed in me when they didn't. Another, I was ready to give up. This showed me my education mattered to someone. Reading those letters, I realized something. The lawsuit wasn't about money. Never had been. It was about refusing to accept that my dreams mattered less than someone else's party. About fighting a system that expected me to sacrifice silently. The money was just the mechanism. The principle was everything. 10 years after the lawsuit, I received a letter. Handwritten. Melissa's handwriting. Maya. I don't expect you to read this. I don't expect forgiveness. I just need to say I'm sorry. Really sorry. Not the performative kind I did back then. The kind that comes from actually understanding what we took from you. I've spent years in therapy. Worked through a lot. Faced things about myself I didn't want to see. The favoritism. The entitlement. The casual cruelty. You were right. About all of it. I don't know if that matters now. Probably doesn't. But I wanted you to know. I'm proud of what you've built. The scholarship is beautiful. You turned pain into purpose. That's more than I've managed. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. If you don't, I understand that too. I read it 3 times. Felt something shift. Not forgiveness exactly. Just acknowledgement. I didn't respond immediately. Put the letter in a drawer. Maybe someday I'd answer. Maybe not. Either way, I'd survived. Thrived. Built a life on my own terms. That was enough. 15 years after the lawsuit, I stood in front of my scholarship recipients at their annual award dinner. 20 students that year. All fighting for futures their families tried to deny them. When I was 18, my family stole my college fund to pay for a wedding that never happened. They thought I'd accept it quietly. That I'd sacrifice my dreams to preserve family peace. I sued them instead. Recovered every penny. Used that money to build the life I'd planned. And I've never regretted it. Some people will tell you family always comes first. That you owe loyalty regardless of how you're treated. That fighting back makes you the villain. They're wrong. You don't owe anyone your future. Not your parents. Not your siblings. Not anyone. Your dreams matter. Your education matters. Your life matters. Fight for it. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because the alternative, accepting less than you deserve, is worse than any family drama. The applause was thunderous. Some students crying. Others nodding fiercely. After the dinner, a freshman approached me. Ms. Chen, my dad wants me to drop out and work in his business. Says college is a waste. I don't know what to do. I handed her my card. Call me. We'll figure it out together. You're not doing this alone. Driving home that night, I thought about 18-year-old me. The girl who'd trusted her family. Who'd built her dreams on a foundation they'd stolen. She'd survived. More than survived. She'd won. Not because the lawsuit succeeded, though it had. But because she'd refused to accept that her dreams mattered less than someone else's comfort. I pulled into my garage. My home. My space. Bought with money I'd fought for. Filled with a life I'd built myself. They'd tried to steal my future. I'd taken it back and built an empire. That, more than any court judgment, was the real victory.